Vice President JD Vance traveled to Pennsylvania today to rally supporters following the passage of the president's massive spending and tax bill. Vance said he wants the administration's allies to focus on that bill's success in preparation for next year's midterm elections.
We just finished one election in 2024, and of course it went the right way. But what we're getting ready to do over the next year and a half, is to talk about these big wins. Because if we don't talk about them, we know too many in the fake news won't cover them.
After the speech, Vance stopped by a local diner to meet with customers. It's a familiar state for him. Pennsylvania is where the Trump campaign held some of their closing campaign stops ahead of their victory last November. But before those campaign stops today, the vice president delivered a decisive vote in the Senate on Tuesday, advancing President Trump's spending cuts on foreign aid and public broadcasters. The proposed cuts include more than $1 billion for public broadcasters and an additional $8 billion in foreign aid programs. Now, the Senate and House both need to approve the cuts by Friday because the White House will be required to spend the money unless Congress passes the measure. CBS News congressional correspondent Nicole Killion joins us now from Capitol Hill. And Nicole, with Vance breaking that tie in the Senate last night, where do these proposed cuts go next? And are there any potential hurdles that could prevent those cuts from getting passed?
Well, obviously, the Senate is working now through the debate and amendment process, better known as vote-a-rama. So this will be going on for several hours as senators try to introduce and vote on various amendments to this bill. But ultimately, it is likely to clear if the procedural vote last night was any indication. Obviously, it was a squeaker, as you mentioned, with Vice President JD Vance having to break that tie. It's unclear if that'll be necessary once the Senate is finally ready to take a vote on this package, because we are learning that Minnesota Democratic Senator Tina Smith has been admitted to the hospital. She wasn't feeling well and saw the Capitol physician. And so that basically means she will be hospitalized overnight for observation. So she will not be taking part in this vote if it happens in the next couple of hours here. So that would affect the math in terms of what might be needed. Obviously, Democrats remain opposed to this package and are unlikely to support it. But in terms of Republicans, it would certainly give them the extra cushion, if you will, if they ultimately end up having the votes for this package. But if it does clear the Senate, obviously it would have to go back to the House, only because the Senate has made some additional tweaks to this package, most notably exempting some global health funding under the PEPFAR program from being clawed back, and also making some adjustments to provide additional funding for tribal rural stations.
And Nicole, we're also following President Trump's growing frustration with Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell. Here's what Massachusetts Democratic Senator Elizabeth Warren told Major Garrett on the takeout earlier.
I think that what Donald Trump is doing is costly right now to our financial system. Day by day, every time he pulls this nonsense, he just sets a little more of America's credibility on fire.
Well, she's not mincing words there, but what other reaction have you heard on Capitol Hill?
Well, look, it runs the gamut, and there certainly is a lot of concern here on the part of some congressional lawmakers. I mean, look, there are some congressional Republicans who support the president's position on this from the standpoint they, too, don't necessarily agree or are thrilled with the job that Jerome Powell has done. That being said, some Republicans and Democrats, as you heard Senator Warren there, have expressed alarm about if the president were to move forward with firing him, that would really upend markets. One senator saying that this could potentially crash the stock market. Another senator, GOP senator, saying earlier today that this could undermine the U.S.'s credibility on the global level. So from that standpoint, there is a lot of concern about the president potentially considering this move of firing Jerome Powell. Some even questioning whether the president has the authority to even do that, considering it's an independent position.
Yeah, a lot of potential major consequences on that front. And Nicole, you're also closely watching a vote in the House on cryptocurrency. Where does that stand?
Well, I wish I could tell you. I think we're all trying to figure it out. I mean, look, we saw this happen yesterday. I mean, as is the case with most forms of legislation here on Capitol Hill, there have to be these like procedural votes before either chamber can move forward on a major piece of legislation. So in terms of this cryptocurrency legislation, the House is trying to move forward a series of bills to regulate the industry, but they can't get past some of these procedural steps. So yesterday we saw a rule vote fail in the House. Right now, another vote on a rule to move forward on this package has been held open for hours, and it's unclear when it may resume. Nancy.
The night apparently still young there. Nicole, thank you very much.